Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guest here today, I'd like to remind everyone, if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Maddy Slupatchuk on the podcast. Thank God I got that. I was getting a little nervous, everyone, for there, but she's coming to us all the way from Conneticut. I don't even know if we had a guest on from Conneticut yet. So, I mean, hey, it's a +1 for that. But she's 21 years old. I just have to remind everyone that just by looking at her. And then I'll share some of her photos on Instagram when she's talking. And then you're just like, okay, yeah, this is BS. How is that even, possible? But yeah. Hey, I got to give a compliment when it's like that. Because like I said before we started this, like, you need to share some of your secrets with us because it's just BS right now. But yeah, she's on here to share her fitness journey with us and discuss all things health and fitness. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Maddy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I mean, I do got to ask you this, even though you are in Connecticut and it is similar, what is the weather like today?
Oh, it's kind of crappy, honestly. It's like windy, cold as crap, like literally like 30 something degrees. I mean, it's probably not as bad as like Minnesota, don't get me wrong, but it's not nice. It's not like it's like 60, 50. No, it's not like that. So yeah, it's pretty cold. Yeah, but Connecticut's not, no, it's not fun. It's not, there's nothing interesting here, really.
I mean, they did have the Hartford Whalers, but that's
Yeah.
about it. Not anymore, but
We have some really, really, really sick gyms.
yeah.
So take that, that's what I'm into, but
Yeah, exactly.
that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. So why
Yeah.
don't we just dive right into things? Why don't you just give us your backstory first off on how you got started in this and how it led to where you're at right now?
Okay. Oh my gosh. So, I'm 21 now. I was a gymnast from when I was 4. I started when I was 4, and up until probably about when I was like 18, because I did it through high school too. So, once I graduated, I kind of stopped with that. But when I was around like the age of like 13, my mom kind of pushed me to like get into like weight training and like weightlifting. And I had like a little trainer, and it was more of like just getting in conditioning for like gymnastics. So I was like, all right, like I'll give it a go, like see how it goes. I have a trainer, so I knew what I was doing. I wasn't gonna hurt myself. And it was fun. I loved it. I fell in love with it so quick. And my mom was always like, Maddie, like you would be like she always wanted to compete for bodybuilding. So she was like, you know what? Like, why don't you give it a go maybe? If it's something you're interested in. If not, let's just whatever, it's done. Like kill the idea. But I was like, you know what? Like I would love to do that one day. I didn't even know what it was about. I had no idea. I was like, I just like the sound of that sounds cool. Like just competing because I was a gymnast, so I was always competing. So I was like, that just seems sick. So whatever. I eventually joined a gym in Brookfield, Connecticut, which if the viewers know where that is. It's called Iron Factory Gym, and I've been there since I was like 13, 14 years old, and they have been amazing. I've grown with them, and from there I met so many people. I met my first coach there, and I started my first prep when I was or like it was like prep slash like off it was like off season going into a prep at 16, so I was really young. And this was also before they made the rule that like you had to be 18 to compete. So I started when I was like 16, and then through like a little bit of like a growing season, I turned 17, and then once like I was 17 for a little bit, we finally decided to hit a prep. And then so by the time my first show came around, I just turned 18 like 3 days before it or something crazy like that. So I did that show in Connecticut. It was just a local show, obviously, and I think I placed like second in like 2 divisions or something like that. Yeah, I think it was second. And I was happy with that. It was like juniors and novice, so I was really happy with that. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. But from there, oh my god, I was addicted. I was like, all right, here we go. Like I'm gonna take this seriously, and I'm gonna be a pro. I was like, I don't care what it's gonna take. I want to be an IFBB pro. Whatever that means, I'm gonna do it. So eventually I was like, okay, I want to like up my game to the next level. And also I was competing in figure. So I wanted to up my game to the next level. I decided to hire a coach out in Utah because I saw like a ton of stuff on Instagram, on social media. A few of my friends have been working with this coach, and I was like, you know what? Like, I want to dive deeper into this and get really serious. So I hired Shane Hughley, and I've been with him for like 3 years, maybe. Yeah, since I was like 19. So, and since then we've just been like absolutely killing it. Like did a show with him in what year was it? in 2021, we did Wasatch Warrior in Salt Lake City, and I placed, I think, like second and fourth. I think I did like novice and fourth and open. And from there, we were like, okay, well, we know where we stand now outside, like with a bigger competition and outside of like my little Connecticut competition, you know what I mean? So we can really like we got something to work with here. And he told me from day one, like, this is gonna be, I think one of his first texts was like, this is gonna be dangerous. Like we can bring something good. And I was like, okay, like I'm excited. Like you don't have to reel me in, I'm already ready. So then we did a show, we went to an off season, and then 2022, so last year, we did a show. I went back out to Utah, did another show, and I won two overalls. But this time, I decided to take on fitness and figure. So, because I was a gymnast my whole life, and fitness always, I always loved it. But with my prior coach, the one before that I had before Shane, I was always told like, no, you shouldn't do fitness because what if you hurt yourself and you can't compete? You can't even get on the stage to do, your posing routine on top of your fitness routine. So I was just like, I was just brainwashed pretty much because I was young. So I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't even know what competing means really. So, but Shane was like, Fanny, whatever you want to do, like I support. Like if you want to do fitness, like let's take it on. So we did, and we just went like balls to the wall with it. I also hired Missy Truscott as my fitness routine coach, and she helped. She's amazing. Oh my god, she helped me so much and continues to help me with my routines and bringing great ones, better and better to the stage every time. But anyway, long story short, we won the two overalls in Utah in August, and then from there we went to North Americans and in Pittsburgh, and I placed second, and I was 20 at the time. So looking back at that, it's like, whoa, like second at North Americans at like and being 20, like I don't know, that was crazy. So I was really proud of that. I was really happy. Like, yeah, I didn't win my pro card, which is what everybody goes into a national show wanting to do. But I was still content because I was like, you know what, this just means that I'm one show closer to my goal. And that's what Shane kept telling me too. Like, Maddie, we're one show closer. Like, and you brought your best. So all I can do, all that we can ask for is that I bring the best version of me. And that's all. I know everybody says that, but I really take pride in that. Like I'm happy that I was able to safely do my routine, and I was happy with the result. So from there we were like, okay, let's do amateur Olympia. And from that's when that was in December, obviously. And so then we went out to Vegas, did that, and I placed first in my class, and that's where I won my pro card. So yeah, and that's a little bit of journey that we went on.
Well, I gotta ask first of all, what was that like being a bodybuilder in high school? Because I couldn't imagine like balancing everything in high school and then living that bodybuilder lifestyle.
A lot of people didn't like a lot of people didn't understand it. My family understood it because whatever I have, my family is so supportive. It's me, my mom, and my sister, and the three of us. Like they're so whatever I want to do in life, like they're just like, all right, yep, we're right behind you. Whatever you want, you got it, girl. Like they're right by my side. So they were all supportive, but all my friends didn't understand it. Like having to eat every 2 to 3 hours, they were like, what? Like, how are you not fat? And I was like, you guys don't understand. So they were like, "How are you not?" And then they were, "Why are you always at the gym?" Like we would be planning to like go to concerts and stuff, and I would be at the gym like right before. I'd be like, "Wait, we can't leave until this time because I gotta hit the gym before." Yeah, it was just crazy. Like a lot of things people just didn't understand, and they thought I was crazy too because I always said like I'm gonna be a professional athlete. I don't know what it's gonna take. I don't know what route I'm gonna go once I graduate, but I know it's gonna happen. And everybody was always like, "Oh, this girl's like cracked out of her mind. Like, what is she talking about?" So I spoke it into existence. Let's just put it there. But a lot of people didn't understand it. Even like, because I was also doing gymnastics at the same time for my high school, they didn't understand it at all either. I eventually quit gymnastics my senior year. I didn't compete because I took on bodybuilding full time.
Wow. Hey, hey, that's dedication for you right there. Like I've said, the people that do this sport, I mean, that dedication, that drive it is something else. And did it get easier for you as you went to college? Because obviously you have a little bit more
Yeah.
free time, or was it one of those things where it was harder because you have the more free time?
It was actually really it was so much easier. Like, I do go with, like, scheduling myself. So, like, I always need a schedule. Like, for me, I have a meal plan too, so it's like everything is to the T. Like, I just don't like having to question anything. I just want, like, a strict schedule so I know what's coming next and what my day's like. So, being able to schedule my classes and stuff like that, and then figuring around it, like meal timings and then when I'm gonna train, stuff like that. It was so easy. I loved it, and I still love it because I'm still in college right now. So being able to figure everything out, I love it. So nice.
Well, I do gotta say, you might be the first guest I've ever had on that their mom recommended them to do bodybuilding. So, hey, we have a first for that in and of
There's
itself too.
that. I
So,
love it.
yeah,
Oh my god.
I've never heard that one before. I think I've heard a dad once or twice, but yeah, a mom doing that. So, hey, we got yeah, like I said, we got a first for everything. But this is also so much more of a mental sport than it is a physical sport. And for all the people that might say like, "Oh my God, Maddie, you look so much different. You look amazing," they just don't understand that mental transformation that's taking place as well, and that's 100 times more important than any of the physical changes. What has this whole journey been like for you mentally?
So true. Oh my god. Especially in the last year, I've grown a lot. Like, just in 2022, like uh, taking it from like North Americans time period, which was September, to Amateur Olympia, which was December, like that, like few months right there, I was like, oh my gosh, like this isn't even about physical anymore. Like I do what I have to do to make my physical change, and that's easy. Like people say that's hard, but for me, honestly, that's the easiest part. Like, all right, change food here, do a little cardio here. Like that is what it is. That's so easy. You just listen to your coach. That the plan's the plan. But like the mental part is like, holy crap, like that's been a journey. Like getting that on lock and making sure that I'm the most important thing is like being zoned in the moment and not trying to think, all right, in a week from now, what's going to change? What am I going to have to change to my diet? What am I going to have to change to get ready for X, Y, and Z? Like, it's like, no, just, I always try to just live in the moment, focus on the day, because who knows what tomorrow's going to be like. You never know. Tomorrow I could wake up and I could feel like absolute crap and I can't even train because I got freaking food poisoning or something. You know what I mean? So it's like, just like be grateful for the moment. And that's like that, even though it's like cliche, that's what like took my physique and like his physique comes from the mental part. So once I got that solidified, like just enjoy the moment and appreciate where you are right now, then my physique followed.
Well, talking about physique, I always love to talk about genetics because for so many people, they don't understand that you can, train as much as someone, you can eat just like them. You're not going to get the same results, unfortunately. Like I said, with my height, it's going to be a little bit restrictive for me to, put on the size of someone who's a foot shorter than me. But I always love to ask this question. What was one body part that really, really took off for you? And what's been one body part that you just had to drag behind since you got started?
Oh my god. Um, one body part. Okay, so the one that took off immediately was my back. Surprisingly, I don't know why. It just always, I always was able to feel it, training wise, contraction wise, like everything was just like it always felt good. So, and also strength too. Like I always had a strong back. Um, but weak parts that took forever and a day to freaking come up is hamstrings and shoulders. And it's funny now because like a lot of people like on my Instagram and stuff, I'm not like big on Instagram. I don't have a ton of followers or anything like that, but like all the comments are always like, "Oh my god, those hammies! Oh my god, the shoulders!" I'm like, "Yeah, you guys have no idea what has gone into growing these. Like, it is a pain." Yeah, it's been crazy. Oh my gosh, I train shoulders twice a week. I only have one leg day, but um, like prior to a few years ago, I was doing like 2 to 3 leg days a week to like just get them to catch up with the rest of me because it was yeah, it was a pain. But yeah,
Yeah, those leg days, trust me, the next morning just crawling out of your bed, yeah, those are just oof,
yeah,
yeah,
brutal.
yeah, they are just
So
absolute
last week
nightmares.
was brutal. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy now. It's just once a week and kill them once, and that's it. That's good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you deal with preps? Because to me, preps, like I've said, I've struggled through the one prep that I did. I lasted about 3 weeks. I just don't understand how someone can mentally do it because I just don't, I guess I just don't have the mental strength for it, which, hey, I'm more than happy to admit it. But how do you deal with that, that switch that sort of goes on in your brain when you get into a prep? Because that is what differentiates, I'd say the average gym goer to just someone who's willing to compete is that they're willing to go through the suffering that is a prep.
Yeah, and like That's so true. Like, you're kind of crazy. You're kind of mentally insane to go through the suffering that we do. But I think it's really fun. I know it's weird, but the suffering part is fun because it's like, all right, I'm hungry, but you know that the hunger means that there's fat loss occurring, and with that, you're gonna look better for stage. And a lot of people are like, oh, like when I say this, they're like, oh, what do you mean you look better because you're lean? I'm like, no, you're gonna look good no matter what. Like, you're in off season, you're in prep, you look good no matter what. But I'm saying when you have a goal, like a prep, and you have that end goal, like you have that date in your head, like, okay, my show date is blah blah. I know by this day I'm gonna do whatever it takes to look my best and bring my best on that day, and that's what you're focused on. And yeah, like, it contradicts with my saying of like, oh, don't focus too far, ahead of time. But that's why every individual day is so important leading up to that date. So like, every day I just focus on the schedule that I'm in, whatever that means. And we'll get to that end goal eventually, but all these small little wins are gonna lead up to something so much bigger. So that's kind of what motivates me through every prep. And also, like, this past year, what's really motivated me was like, I didn't like, my division is very different. Fitness is very different than obviously any other division because we have a routine, and our routine is worth two-thirds of our score. So have I was a gymnast my whole life. So being able to practice like my gymnastics kind of on top of training was like, okay, this is like so much fun. Like, every day I was having so much fun because it's like, this is my freaking roots. This is where I came from. So I never like, nothing ever feels like work to me. It just is like, I'm so happy to be here. Like, I'm having fun, dude. It's sick. Like, even if I'm depleted, tired, dead, whatever the case is, hungry, it doesn't matter. It's like, I'm I'm doing flips and I'm lean. Like, this is cool. Like, this is just like badass. So
Do you think that the bodybuilding has helped or hindered your gymnastics ability? Because I've known some people who have gotten too big to the point that like it actually can becomes a hindrance.
it's actually it depends. It's funny. It depends on the season that I'm in. Like, when I'm in off season, because when I picked up or like kind of considered the idea of fitness, I was deep in off season. So it was hard being able to like, get my body because I was at a heavier, body weight. So being able to like flip, get myself in the air, that was hard, difficult, definitely to get some skills. But as I got leaner, I found that I was flying. Like, it was so much like skills were coming left and right. It was so much easier. And even though like some joints were like, I had to be very careful because like some joints were they, start to feel like sharp as you get like leaner. But I was careful as we got like closer to show dates and stuff. But it actually was easier like for my fitness routine, like as I get leaner. So I always say it depends on my season.
How hard do those push-ups get as you lean down and slowly just whittle away everything? Because people would not understand that. Like, I've always found it funny, and I've always told this to people, like, they should do a strength competition on that stage, and people would be shocked at like how little some of these, just because how dieted down you are and how depleted you are.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, the push-ups, dude. When you're depleted, it's like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, you wake up or you get up from them and it's like the room's spinning, you see the stars, but just keep moving. Yeah. It gets difficult, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. And that's, again, why I love having these guests on, because of what they go through mentally, not just physically, but just the mental part of it too is just,
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, again, they are psychopaths deep down. Let's be completely honest. Let's call them for what they are, but they're the good kind of psychopaths. Like, they're not
Yeah.
going to go out and murder people.
We're
Hopefully,
the good,
fingers crossed,
yeah.
but
We look
yeah,
scary. It's so funny. We look scary in the gym, but
yeah,
once you come up to us, like I'm so nice. Like
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'll be real. Like, I'll tell you exactly what's going on in my life. Like,
Oh,
I don't.
that's why I love these. That's why I chose to have these guests on too. Because for meeting so many of them in the gym, and I'm like, hey, they're like really nice people. They just have that facade of like, and that stereotype of just being mean and just
Yeah.
grunting half the time, which, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
let's be honest. I know one guy in the gym that does that, and he ruins it for everyone, because I was like, okay, you are every walking stereotype that everyone's ever said about a gym bro. So, hey, just try not to do it so much.
You are
Like,
a walking stereotype.
he communicates in grunts basically, and he just like he could basically eat nails in there. Basically, is like what he like. I don't understand it, but hey. I always point out to people where I was like, yeah, please don't be like that guy at the gym, really,
Yeah.
because it's like,
I
yeah,
feel
so
like it. Just just
100%.
get in, do your thing,
Mhm.
train hard, get out.
And when it comes to the biggest part of this sport, which a lot of people do not understand, is the nutrition aspect of it. What have been some of the biggest nutritional changes that you've made from, pre-bodybuilding to now, or just even throughout the years, because it's always ever evolving?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is it's always changing. And that's what like I realized also this past year, which also helped my mental part of the game because as you continue and like I've done meal plans. I've been on a meal plan since I started bodybuilding, like when I was 16. So, but I love that. I love that whole schedule. Like I said, I'm a very like schedule person. So having that is perfect for me. And it's different for everybody else. Some people like to dabble with like macros or whatever, but for me, that's not me. I can't. I don't like questioning anything. So meal plan it is. But like when I was younger, I always ate like healthy. I guess I would say like you know my mom and my dad kind of like trained me to be like, all right, like make sure you eat your proteins. Like they, my mom and my dad were
You were
athletes.
that one kid on the block, basically, that was
Yeah,
just, yeah,
I
Maddie's
was
got to go over protein. Everyone, yeah, it's
there.
just,
She is eating her
yeah.
freaking chicken again. Yeah, no, that's me now. But my mom was always like I said, she always wanted to compete in bodybuilding, so she was always very athletic. And my dad was a semi-pro baseball player, so I had um the influence of like just athletes. And my sister now, she's a D3 volleyball player. I love my sister. Shout out to her because she'll watch this. But she also like we've all just like always been eating healthy. So making this transition to like a meal plan was like, all right, it's just more of what I am used to eating. It wasn't really that big of a change. And what was cool too is my mom, my dad always said to me like, all right, on the weekends, that's when like you can have a dessert like on the weekends, like like let's be good during the week. Let's hit like almost like hit our goal, and then on the weekends we all can have a dessert together. And so it was almost like a bodybuilding mindset because really now it's like all right, I get a cheat meal once a week, so it's kind of like this. I was always like weirdly using the same schedule, just not knowing it until like right now, like I realized it right now. So it was cool, it was so cool like thinking back at it now. But yeah, so now it's just like since I started fitness too, I've had so much more food and like in my meal plans than when I was just doing figure. But that's because compared to a normal competitor, I'm doing like I have my cardio, I have my training, but I also have my fitness practice. That third key other competitors don't have. Yeah, they have their and I have posing too. So that other key other competitors don't have. So with that ability comes I'm burning more calories because of how extensive my practices are. So we're able to up food a little bit, which is really nice. And my metabolism was just like firing. So because we were also doing show after show after show, so like last year. But yeah, we were able to up food, and it's I've been blessed with that. Like that's a good thing. So I never everybody was always like, oh, you're probably suffering. I'm like, no, I'm eating pretty close to what I was eating in my off season, but that's because I took on fitness and like I'm working for something crazy.
We gotta talk about routines, because anytime I have a fitness competitor on, it's because it's the one thing that I think really differentiates fitness than any other category. Is like you gotta do your routine.
Yeah.
How do you come up with your routines? I know you work with Missy, who I've had Missy on the podcast. She was an absolute delight to talk to, and I'll probably have her on again sometime soon. But I mean, coming up with routines is so, to me, that just seems like it's hard to do. And like, how do you do that? Because I am not that, as much as a guy who created his own podcast and something. I'm not that creative. I'm gonna be completely honest. So to me, it just seems hard to come up with something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I like basically how I do it is I'll hear like a song or like music or something. I'll be searching up songs that like might fit for a routine, and in my head I'll visualize like tumbling passes or dance moves that I can think go with certain parts of the song. And then from there I'll like what me and Missy did was I'll like take a snippet of the song. Like I'll say, okay, Missy, from minute 1 to like 2 minutes, I like that part. What do you think? And then she'll take like I'll send her a few songs just like that, and she'll take like the 3 songs and like we'll work together to just mash something up. And from there, we'll have the music. So the music will be good. It's just a matter of, all right, now we have to figure out the dance parts, the routine, or, the tumbling parts. Um, what's like weird strength moves that we can do, like where to piece it all at the same time, make it flow so it doesn't look like patchwork. You know what I mean? So it's a
And
it's a
everyone, she's doing this at a time when her brain is starting to get depleted too as well. So more
yeah,
respect to that too.
yeah. We're doing this when like my brain's like functioning at like 50%. So it's like, what is going on, dude? Yeah, it's crazy, but also my gymnastics background really helps because now whenever I hear a song, even when I was younger, whenever I like heard a song, that's why it's so important to have like a background if you're going into fitness. Because when I was younger, I would hear a song and same thing, I would be like imagining a gymnastics routine to it. So I think now like that ability just like carried over into fitness.
Please tell me you've never had to take finals or do anything like serious coursework when you've been on prep.
Dude, at the amateur Olympia, I was taking finals. I think I was like 2 days out, and I still had a final to take. Yeah, I brought my laptop and everything. Crazy. Oh, it was insane. Yeah, yeah. But not not to toot my own horn or anything. I finished that semester. So when I earned my pro card, the morning that I earned it, I found out that I made the dean's list. So
What a
it was
nerd. Good
yeah.
God.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was a little that was I'm really not smart, swear to God, but, like, finding that out was really cool.
Yeah, I always just chose the classes that I knew that I'd only have to show up like half the time, and then yeah, I just didn't.
Yeah, half
That
the
was
time,
that was
like,
me. Hey, C's get
hustling
degrees,
through it.
everyone, but yeah. So that's my journey at least that way. But I do gotta ask. I mean, what was that moment like when you got your pro card? Because for so many people that have on the podcast, that is the highlight of their career.
Yeah, oh my god, it was crazy. I mean, I also I didn't talk about this yet, but I also didn't earn it the typical way that most competitors do. Um, so how the amateur Olympia works is the rules say that the top 3 in each division, earn their card, and um, so I was in class. There's class for amateur Olympia. It was A, B, and C. I was in C, and I placed first. But when they did awards, they only called one competitor to win their pro card. So I was really confused because the rules, when you search up on Google right now, amateur Olympia will say top 3. So I was really confused. But whatever. I walked off stage with no pro card in that moment, and I went to judges and the IFBB officials that were at the show, and I was like, wait a minute, like the rules state right here that top 3 earn their pro card. Like, can you just explain it to me because I'm confused? And um, they told me in that moment to uh, send in a petition to the IFBB officials. So I was like, oh, okay. So I did that. I listened, did everything I did, and then I heard from Tyler Mannion on like 2 weeks later after the Amateur Olympia, and I received emails. It literally was some random Wednesday night. So I was sitting right here, random Wednesday night, and I'm getting all these emails. My phone's blowing up, and it's like, oh my, like, congratulations. I'm so sorry, but I just wanted to say that it was so weird. I just wanted to say that you actually did earn your pro status at the Amateur Olympia. We're sending your card in the mail, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. So I was sitting right here reading this. And I was like, and my mom is sitting on the couch in my living room. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like freaking out. And she got up like really quick and she was like, she just knew what was happening. And she was like, holy crap. And so so we celebrated in that moment. But what's funny is even though I didn't like get it on stage at the Amateur Olympia, which everybody was always like after when I tell the story, everybody's like, I'm so sad that you didn't have that moment. I'm like, yeah, that's sad, I guess. But everybody's journey is different. And I'm grateful that my moment that I found out was surrounded with everybody that I love. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get that moment on stage, but I'm okay with that because I like this is just how it was meant to happen for me. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how it was supposed to go. So I can't argue with that. I think that everything happens for a reason, and this is exactly how it was supposed to happen for me. Even though it's not typical, it's all right with me. It's just because I was able to celebrate here. The next day, I went to my home gym and I told everybody. Well, actually, I didn't even tell everybody. I just like sent it out on social media, and so then it was just such a cool moment because everybody was running up to me and they were like, "Oh my god, we knew it! Like this is crazy!" So it was just so cool. It was so
Well,
cool.
think about it this way, it makes a great storytelling on a podcast at least, so you got a great
Yeah,
story out of it at least.
exactly. It
Exactly.
makes it's a great story, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
'Cause
What yeah. I that is
it,
that's crazy. Yeah.
and during those two, I know it's crazy. During those 2 weeks where it was after the Amateur Olympia, and I was waiting to hear back from the IFBB. I was like, I don't really know what to do.
Mhm.
Like, I don't really know what to think. Like, I don't know. I was like, I know on show day on at Amateur Olympia, I brought my absolute best. That was my best routine. That was my best physique. I could not have done better in that moment. I seriously couldn't have. So I was proud and so confident in what I did that I knew, like, you know what, whatever happens, happens because I did everything that I could. There's nothing more that I could have done. So to just hearing that, seeing that email from Tyler, like everything just, I was like, wow, like it just solidified it, and I was so happy.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine what that feeling must have been like after going through all that. That must have been, yeah. That's one of those feel good stories that I honestly, like to hear on this podcast. But I do gotta talk about the fact that like you are not the average looking woman. If you were to go out in public now, luckily you live in Connecticut, like I said, another
Yeah,
colder climate where you can sort of sweater up a little bit and not
yeah.
be a show off. But
Like today,
yeah, exactly. Now, but especially like during the summertime when you're sort of forced to go out there and what is that like? Because I compare it to sort of like being a mini celebrity, where you're gonna get people's reactions just because it's human nature when they see something that's not the normal to just be like,
oh,
okay, wow, that's fascinating. Has it been easier for you to accept that as your career's gone on, or is it still something that you're just like, okay, this is kind of weird how all the attention that I get?
I know, right? No, it's actually been that's so true. I don't. Oh wow, that's a good question. Like as it's gone on, it kind of gets easier because it's funny. I'm like I work as a bartender.
Oh
Or
God,
so you
that's
can
just asking.
imagine
That's just asking for it right there.
exactly. Imagine the attention that you get there. Oh my god. Because I
How many
wear like,
drinks for arm wrestles have you done?
oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Literally this past like month, I think I've arm wrestled like 3 guys. Oh my god. But the tips are great. So you can't complain. Can't complain. It's all worth it. But it's fun. I love what I do. I have so much fun. But attention wise, yeah, the comments that you get sometimes are like, what did they just say? Like what? Like I had one time, some just recently, some guy was like, he was talking about how he goes to bed early, and I was like, oh yeah, like me too. Like I'm tired. Like but whatever. Like I train, I work. It is what it is. Like everybody goes to bed early. Like we try to do that. That's human beings. That's what we try to do. And he's like, yeah, but wait. He was a little bit older. He was like, wait until you get my age, and he was like, you're gonna really start going to bed early. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, but even if you live that long, and I was like, whoa, what? I was like, if I live that long, and he knew I was a bodybuilder. He knew I just turned pro. So I was like, if I live that long, I was like, you guys are crazy. I mean, I don't say anything. I just in the moment, I'm just like, boy, what did you just say? I was like, you're crazy. But so you get like weird comments like that. And all the time people ask like, "Are you a dancer? Are you a gymnast? Are you a swimmer?" Like I always get those like questions because like I at work I have like a tight shirt on, so they see like a like a build like very like broad shoulders, and they're like, "What do you do? Are you a football player?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy."
A
But yeah,
football player.
football. Yeah, I've gotten football player. I've gotten wrestler. Um, yeah, bunch of I got in WWE, MMA, like so much. I'm like, what? Where do you guys come up with this stuff? This is crazy. But yeah, so it's gotten easier to accept because I hear everything. Like I hear, like you could just get a little bit, like I'm saying, like WWE. I'm like, dude, what? You just hear random stuff.
Well, you mentioned sleep, and I do got to bring up sleep because that is the most important thing in this lifestyle, probably in any lifestyle in general. I will go to bat on that, 100 times out of 100. It is
Yeah,
the difference between having a good day and having a bad day, regardless of what anyone says. And as hyper as I am, if I don't get a good night's sleep, I am not as good of a person. And being a bodybuilder, sleep is just so much more important. how do you try to balance somewhat of a sleep schedule, especially as you get closer to preps too, where sleep becomes so much harder?
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, right
Luckily,
now,
I will say, luckily that you're younger, so sleep you can sort of deal with it a little bit less.
yeah. Right now, it's like I mean, I'm crazy. Like I try to go to sleep like early, but I don't really know what early means because time to me just like flies. I don't pay attention to time, and I'm like, oh my god, it's 1 a.m. and I'm just going to sleep right now.
Yep.
So I typically go to sleep at like 1 a.m. But with my schedule, it's really nice because I can sleep until like it's gonna sound crazy, but I can sleep until like 10:30. So I'm getting like 9 hours a night. I always tell my
Hey,
coach,
I work 1:30 to 9:30 at 1:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So yeah, I'm on the same thing as you basically.
yeah, exactly. I always tell my coach, I'm like, I get like 9 hours of sleep. Like I really sleep. Like that's not a problem for me. So I'm always like I always call it I go into my coma. Like and I also I mean my days are typically like training, school, work. So I have long days that once I get home, I literally go into a coma because I'm like, dude, I'm just dead. Like I can't have no more to give. So I just go into a coma and then I wake up at like 10:30 ish, and from there I'll do like my fasted cardio, eat my meal, and then I'll go train, and same process again. But so sleep to me is, I mean, it's so important. If I don't get more than like 7 to 8 hours, like I, I I'm gonna be a monster. And anything less than that, I usually get sick. So I try to definitely keep it like no less than like 7 or 8.
Yeah, that's the that's pretty close to anything. I normally don't get sick, but like I just get like I just get like runny nose and stuff like that. Then like
Yeah.
for no reason, it's not like sick, but it's like it's just an annoyance. So yeah, there's that. And now we got to talk to the bane of my existence. I hate it more than life itself, cardio. And when I say cardio, I mean like actual running. I go on walks all the time. I live next to a nature park now. Unfortunately, for at least probably the next 2 months, I can't do that. But during the summer, yeah,
Yeah.
like every night, I walk for like an hour. And now that my job is close by, I'll just walk to and from work, and that'll
I
get my
like
steps in. Yeah, yeah. I live probably like it's probably like a 20-minute walk from work, so it's
yeah.
nice. But then yeah, so I do gotta ask about cardio. So what is your relationship with cardio like?
I don't know what just happened to my
Oh,
phone.
no worries.
Um, uh, relationship with cardio. I do incline walking.
Oh god.
That's my fasted cardio, and I love it because I do not run. Mm-mm. You're never gonna see that from me. I do not run. And I also do Stairmaster, and I love Stairmaster. That's a controversial topic, but I love Stairmaster because it's like challenging, but it's not like I'm running. Like running hurts my joints, it hurts my shins. I'm just miserable the whole time. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But I'll incline walk till my feet fall off, or I'll go do Stairmaster till my feet fall off. I don't care. That's to me, it's entertaining. And I'll always go on my phone too. So I'll be watching TikTok or YouTube, or especially closer to my shows. I found that I try not to go on my phone as much just because like I want more just my mental to be clear, and social media tries to skew your mind with everything. It doesn't have to be just bodybuilding related. You're just thinking about so much random stuff, so much like depressing stuff that you don't need to be thinking about. So I try to just keep it all like very like motivational stuff. I watch my I watch Missy, my fitness coach, a lot. She has YouTube, so I
Yep.
like to watch videos. I like to watch just bodybuilding videos, just motivational stuff, positive things that are just gonna like things that I already know, just they're gonna get me through my day and not like skew my mental state at all. You know what I mean? Because there's so much negative on the internet. So I try to just like no, don't think about that stuff. Keep it positive, girl.
Oh,
That's it.
I've even one night I did a deep dive into like the dark side of female bodybuilding too, and that made me want to just burn my laptop and
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
yeah.
No, no. Like when all
So
this stuff like
yeah, so just don't look up stuff on the internet, everyone. If that's my
no,
thing, don't ever use the internet. Just it's
don't.
not worth it. Yeah.
When-
So
And sometimes it'll pop up like suggested or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't even want to see the
yeah.
title. That stuff. Like, no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and I do got to bring up, we've done the podcast long enough where I do have to bring up calves are my number one least favorite body part because it's just the most genetically like I could. And you did that one damn photo where you said your calves you have calf veins, everyone. So this is bullshit, first of all. So I just have to say that right now because that's absolutely ridiculous. So the moment that you post that photo, I was like, okay, we got to bring that up because my calves, yeah, that is the worst.
I gotta talk about that. Yep.
I was the guy, since I was a pitcher that was doing calf raises, like none other, and still Nothing. So yeah, the moment that I saw that photo, I was like, okay, we do have to bring up the fact that like
Mm.
I
What
was more than triggered by that. Like I was almost brought to tears. I was like, okay, this is because that's the one body part that is so genetic. Like you'll see a guy with nice calves walk in the gym and you're just like, okay, there's no way he trains them. And it's just
yeah,
like,
it's crazy. Oh my god, you're gonna hate me, definitely. But so I mean, being a gymnast,
mhm,
like when I was younger, we trained calves religiously, religiously. Like on like I don't know if you know gymnastics, but you know beam how that's it's beam, bars, floor, vault. Those are like the four events that you do. And so when we were on beam, what we did like conditioning for our
mhm,
routines and stuff. So we would be on like pretend these are my legs.
yeah.
You would stand on the beam like this for 5 minutes on your tippy toes, and then you would switch to the other foot in front 5 minutes. Then you would switch sideways 5 minutes, and so you would be on your tippy toes for 15 minutes a day,
Mhm.
which sounds crazy to anybody, but that strengthened our calves like no other. I swear by that. So once I transitioned to bodybuilding, I would like sprinkle in a little calves here and there just for like fun. I was like, oh, here's a calf machine. I've
Yeah.
never tried that before. Why don't I just try it?
Yeah.
So I did, and just here and there, nothing crazy. And I was like, okay, it's cool, but honestly, I don't train calves. I don't. I just started like 3 weeks ago because I was like, you know what? Maybe I should, just because I feel bad not doing it. So I did, and I feel like they haven't really changed. They've kind of just been the same.
Hey,
They've always,
at least she admits to it, everyone. That's all that I ask, is that you admit to like
yeah.
not training calves, and don't be that liar that be like, oh, I trained them so hard and that's how they
No,
got them to look. But again,
oh no,
I have heard a lot of people that like, yeah, it is a
yeah,
lot of that stuff is like what you do in childhood is how it sort of leans out that. But I do gotta ask a gymnast question because I've always been fascinated by this, and I've never asked it when I've had a gymnast on.
yeah.
Why are there no tall gymnasts? What is the deal with that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll tell you exactly why. Um, it stunts your growth. Gymnastics
Oh, okay.
stunts your growth because so what's funny is you were saying how you're 6'3".
Yeah.
My whole family, and my entire family is tall. My mom was like 5'9".
Mhm.
She shrunk a little bit. She's gonna kill me when she sees this. She was like 5'9". My sister, same thing, same height, like 5'8" ish. My sister's also a volleyball player, so she's freaking tall. And my dad was like 6 foot, and then everybody on his side's like 6 foot, 6'2", taller, whatever. So everybody, like when I went to the doctor when I was younger, like my physicals and stuff, they were like, "Why is she so short? Like, where does she come from? Like, what? Like, are you?" And my mom was always like, "I
We
don't know,
found her
but
on the street somewhere, doctor.
yeah,
That's why. Yeah.
why is she so tiny?" And so I'm like 5'3", so I'm not short, but like compared to my family, yeah, I am. So the doctor was always like, "Well, you're a gymnast. Gymnastics stunts your growth," which is crazy. It's because you're always flipping and it's compacting your body like this. Like you're always landing hard. Like when you think about it on your joints and your muscles and everything, it's always just compacting you. So that sport compared to like my sister who does volleyball, that's a jumping sport. So you're constantly like elongating yourself, like you're jumping up and everything. So everything's always constantly being stretched. And the way you're training is for your body to be stretched. I'm training in the way for my body to be compacted. So it's crazy, but like that kind of nature of what your sport requires is gonna affect your height.
I've always said I long for the day when there's a 6 foot tall gymnast that just is able to kill it and do all that. But unfortunately, I don't think that'll be the case because yeah, well, it's the same thing with me with competitors too. Where like I've always said that there needs to be height classes. Like I'm sorry, I know that the majority of my guests are on the shorter side, but like I've had guests on that are like 6 feet tall, and it's like if they were to stand next to you, I'm sorry, but you can't judge someone who's 5'3" next to someone who's 6 feet tall. It's
No,
just they're
great.
different bodies. Yeah.
In men's open all the time, I'm like, what? How do you even judge that, dude? Like, it's like they both look amazing, but they're two different classes. It's crazy. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so insane.
Well, yeah, it's always funny. People always talk about like if Arnold stepped on stage right now. Well, forget Arnold's like 6'1" or something like that. So that's why, I mean, it would be
Yeah.
different now. But yeah, I've always thought that too. But I mean, that's why I always have a soft spot for the tall people to come on the podcast. Not that I don't have anything against the shorter guests because I love them just as much too. But the tall guests, just because I know the struggle of being tall in a gym too and dealing with
No,
all that
I
crap
have
too. So
respect for the tall guys in bodybuilding. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even imagine what you go through.
Mhm,
Like, I know how hard it is to gain muscle for any Joe Schmo,
mhm.
but for someone who's like 6 foot, I or taller, oh my god, I can't imagine. Like growing those legs,
Yeah.
God bless you. Like I can't.
This is a question that I just came up with. I've never asked this before, but like when you look at how easy it is for a lot of guys to like put on size and to have their metabolism, do you ever just get pissed off?
Um, I used to.
Yeah.
I can say that I truthfully used to.
Yeah.
Like when I was like first starting and I first started like getting into it and like when I was younger and I was hearing about like what guys' diets would be like or what their cardio regimen would be like. I was like, dude, this guy's getting shredded on freaking 20 minutes of
Yeah.
cardio. Are you kidding me? So I that would piss me off because I was like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. So and I'm like, and he's eating freaking so like 1.5 million calories in prep. What? So that really made me mad. But as I like, matured and realized how the sport works,
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, like everybody's different. I'm also a freaking female.
Yeah.
Like, why is what's his name next to me? Why does he matter?
Yeah.
Like, we're not competing against each other. I'm never gonna see him again.
Yeah.
I just see his Instagram post. Who even knows if that's what he eats every day? So it's like I'm just gonna focus on myself. I'm done with. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care anymore. Yeah. So um,
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
used to get pissed off by it, but now it's just like whatever.
It was fine by me until I talked to a 6'5" male bodybuilder who does like 4,500 calories during his prep. So then you're just like,
Dude, what?
then
Yeah,
yeah, then I'm just like, okay, this is not life is. That's when you just realize life isn't fair, everyone. So you just gotta,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah, yeah. At that point, I'm just like, what?
yep,
Nothing's fair. It
absolutely,
doesn't matter. I'm done. I
absolutely.
can't.
And what advice do you have for any females who are thinking about getting started, not even just in bodybuilding, but in bodybuilding too, like just in a healthy and fit lifestyle? What advice do you have for them when they're getting started?
Um, just wow, that's a good question. Just whatever your goal is in your mind, whatever you classify it as, just stick to it. I mean, it sounds crazy, but like stick to it. Whatever you kind of got to be a little crazy when you have a big goal. If say it's for bodybuilding, you want to compete, stick to it. Just have that end goal and do whatever it takes to get to that moment. And you might decide when you're going through a prep or you're going through a fitness change or journey, whatever, that you're like, all right, this isn't like suitable for me. This is not sustainable. I can't do this all the time. Then okay, great. You can do one and done and be done forever. Like my sister, for example, like she recently has brought up the idea of competing. And I was like, listen, if you want to go through a prep and you figure out while you're doing it, like I don't know how I have respect for people who do this, but it's just not for me. Like I can't do it. Then all right, that's good. You realize that you tried something new, you realized it, and that's awesome. But say you do it, anybody, say you do it and you freaking love it and you love the changes that you're seeing, like that is gonna like fuel your fire and you're gonna be able to take it. And it's not only just gonna be in your fitness journey where that dedication comes and like plays a role. It's gonna be in every aspect of your life. Like it's not just like a fitness change where my body's changing. Like no, your mental's changing.
Mhm.
Your dedication to all aspects of your life, your work life, your freaking family life, like everything is gonna be just next level because you're bettering yourself personally.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best way I could describe myself. And you brought up, and as we're getting close to the end here, I wanted to talk about a little bit too. Your brain injury. You said you had a brain injury. What's
Yeah,
the backstory behind that, and how did that? Yeah, basically, yeah.
I know, right? Gosh. So when I was 13, like right before I started seriously like weightlifting and everything, I had brain surgery because I had really bad headaches and no doctor could figure out why. I've never talked about this actually, which is funny. I was gonna make a post about it, but it's really hard to word. But I had these headaches that they would make me bedridden for weeks. Like I could not. I at the time I was in 8th grade, I couldn't go to school. I missed like half the year. I couldn't look at a computer screen. I couldn't look at my phone. I had to be in a dark room and I could not move. I could get up to go pee and that was about it. I had to drink the only thing that would kind of help the pain, which is crazy, is sweet tea. with like a lot of sugar in it. Like the doctors told me that it was so gross, but like liquid sugar in sweet tea would help the pain. Don't know why. I was probably cracked out of my mind on sugar during this time, but it did help the pain just a tiny bit. But that was really it. There was no medication that helped me, which is insane. I would still be in my bed throwing up because the headaches were so bad, and I literally couldn't walk or do anything. So couldn't do gymnastics during this time either, obviously. So eventually we kept going to the doctors, kept getting MRIs and stuff, and I had a cyst on my brain right here. And everybody told me I could live with it. Everybody told me, "Oh, Maddie, you're born with this. Like, you're gonna be fine, whatever." And I was like, "All right." Like, so what am I supposed to do? Lay in my bed and keep puking? Like, how am I supposed to live? Like, this is crazy. And be in pain every day. Like, I had a nonstop headache for almost a year, and I was like every single day, excruciating pain. So I was like, "How am I supposed to live? Like, what? What?" So I went to a few neurosurgeons, and same thing. They told me you can live with this. Like your cyst is not like nothing's happening. So a few more months went by, like 3 months went by. Same thing, I'm in my bed puking, not living life. And as a 13-year-old, you know how hard that is. You're not going to school. You're not being normal. Like you're missing your friends because you can't hang out with them because you can't even stand up to see them. It was hard, but eventually it got to the point where it was so bad that I kept going to the ER. Like it's called Yale New Haven's Children's Hospital in Connecticut. So I kept going there, which is it's a big hospital, and they eventually saw that they were going to do a spinal tap on me. They thought that I had too much fluid in my brain, and that I don't know if you know what a spinal tap is, but they basically put a big ass needle in your back.
I'm aware of the movie.
Yeah. Whatever. They take it, boom, yeah, in your back. So they're gonna do that, and I was freaking out, and I have really strong like gut feelings. So I knew in that moment, I was like, if you do that, it's not gonna be good. I know right now. I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything about medicine, but I know right now that if you do that, it's not gonna be good. They didn't listen to me. They thought I was crazy. And I was like, no. So I started freaking out. I started ripping. I had IVs in me. I started ripping them out. I started taking they like had my back like prepped for it. I started taking the pads off. I was like, no, you're not doing it. They thought I was literally insane. So they sent me home because I was just not cooperating. I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm going home. Like, I know I'm in pain, but I'm going home. So I went home for like 2 days. I went back to the ER 2 days later because once again, I'm in pain and I was just fighting them. So I go back to it's a kind of a funny story. So I go back to the ER and they were like, all right, you know what? Let's do another MRI on you. Because during that time, they hadn't done an MRI for about like 2 or 3 months. So they do the MRI. They see that the cyst, so the middle of your brain is here. The cyst pushed my middle of my brain over here. So my brain, instead of sitting like this, was sitting like this. So my brain was sideways. So yeah, they were like, all right, well, we got to do emergency brain surgery to get this cyst out and, so your brain can shift back to normal. Because that's what was making all this happen. So yeah, we had emergency brain surgery. They shaved my head right here, they drilled in and they drained the cyst. And then after that, thankfully, I mean, it wasn't a smooth. I had to learn like right after surgery, like how to walk again and everything. So it wasn't a smooth ride at all. But I had my mom by my side the whole time, and she was a trooper. She was, oh my god, she was crying like crazy. She was like, Maddie, I don't understand how you're so strong. I don't get how you're doing this. I'm like, I just don't want to be in pain anymore. Like I'll do whatever it takes to get back to my normal life. Like I'm just done with the pain. So that's what happened. It was crazy. It's definitely insane.
Wow.
It's a heavy story.
I don't understand how a brain can go sideways, first of all. That just to me, like,
No, I
how you
know.
could still be alive while that happens, too. That's insane. Yeah, that
They,
is.
they so I mean, after the fact, they told me if they did the spinal tap, I was right. If they did the spinal tap, I probably would have bad things would have happened. You could imagine what they said to me. Um, and then also, I was one of 30 people in the world that this has ever happened to, and I was like,
What?
oh yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah. Like 1/3, yeah, 1/30, or maybe it was a little bit less than that. But that's what I wrote my college essay about too, because
Well, talk about being lucky in an unlucky way. Good God.
yeah,
Jeez.
my neurosurgeon was like, "You got to write an essay on this when you apply to college." And I was like, "All right, sounds good to me." He was like, "I'll help you." So it was crazy, but I had really the best team. I'm still friends with my nurses that I had, and they've supported my bodybuilding journey, which is so freaking cool. And my neurosurgeon too. Like I'm still friends with all of them, which is it's just so cool. It's really cool.
That is, hey, that is an insane story, but I love it. That is a great
Yeah.
story. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, headaches to me are just the absolute. I don't get migraines or anything like that, but whenever I get a headache, man, from now on, basically, whenever I get a headache, it's basically because I'm hungry, and
Yeah.
that's about it. But yeah, I could not imagine just having to sit in a dark room and just not. Yeah,
Ugh,
that is crazy. But hey,
yeah. It was
wow,
the worst.
yeah. Well, now we gotta wrap this up on a positive way. So I gotta ask my two
Yeah.
positive questions that I ask every guest before we wrap things up. If someone were to walk up to you and say, Maddie, you can change one thing about the sport of bodybuilding, and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
Everything wrong with it? Oh my god. Wow, that's a great question. Holy crap. Um, wow. Oh my gosh. That's a
You can do more than one if you want.
I was gonna say, there's a few things
Mhm.
that I think I would change. I would change the, um, just the questions of people automatically assuming that they stereotype us, like, "Okay, since you're a bodybuilder, you take steroids. Everybody takes steroids." So since this one, they'll be like, "Oh, I heard that that guy's taking tren. That means you're on tren too, just because he's a bodybuilder and you said you're a bodybuilder." Like, that stereotype is crazy. It's like, you're just gonna classify me as something like that? Like, that's nuts. Like, just if you're not, like, educated on this kind of stuff, like, why are you assuming that everybody has their own journey, everybody does their different things, whatever. It's not just around that topic, it's with everything. So it's like, why you shouldn't stereotype us. Just talk to us, like we're normal people. It's just weird. That I would change because I don't like that. What else? Also, like the any negativity, because a lot of people like degrade your hard work. Because like for me, being young, like I'm 21, like a lot of people say to me like, "Oh, you didn't earn your pro card, like, it was given to you because you're young," like, they just wanna see, like, the young ones, like, they wanna let in some of the young ones just so that, like, it gets, like, the next generation ready. So you hear a lot of that. I've gotten a lot of DMs about that, and I was just like, "What is that?" Like, why are you being negative about it? Like, this is, like, such a great moment and a positive moment for anybody in bodybuilding when you turn pro. But, when you're doing something great, there's always gonna be that swarm of haters that try to turn you down, even when you're not big. Like I said, I don't have a ton of followers. I'm really nothing on Instagram, but there's always gonna be that group of people who try and tear you down. That's for sure.
No, yeah, that's one thing. And I'd say prize money too. Good God. I mean, it's like when you
Oh, yeah,
become a
oh,
pro, you should be able to
definitely.
have enough money to be able to like at least live a little bit.
Yeah, I wish that was the case. Like I wish that um competitors of every division, like when you're the best in the world, like you're competing and you're constantly like top 5 in the Olympia or pro shows, whatever the deal is. I wish that like you were getting paid like I don't know, like a salary or
Yeah.
I don't know how it would work, but something where it's like that could be a livable.
Yeah, just a side, just like a couple grand a month or something like that. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It just has to be enough where
no,
like with the
like a
expenses of the
livable
sport. Yeah.
that could be a livable occupation for you. Like
Yeah.
that's what it could be. But
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I wish.
I wish that as well. And I mean, I'd love to have you back on in a year because you're a great guest. And I mean, when we do have you back on in a year, where would you like to be at in your bodybuilding? Where would you like to be at in your overall life? Where are some goals that you'd like to have achieved?
Oh my gosh. In a year, definitely I want to hit a pro show. I'm thinking, I mean, we don't have a pro show set yet for a date, but we're thinking later this year. So I'm very excited. A goal for myself that I would like to do. I don't know if it's feasible. I mean, it's probably feasible, but I don't know if it's definitely going to happen. But something for me that I would like is to hit a pro show before I turn 22. So still being 21, think that's just cool. It's something stupid, but for me, I think it's cool. So it doesn't mean anything to anybody else really, but to me, I think it's cool. So I want to do it. I think 21, like hitting, like, okay, this is my pro debut. I'm 21. Like this is cool. So I want to do that. Um, Other than that, once I graduate school in May, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, like bodybuilding, working, and that's it. Like I'm gonna be able to. I mean, bodybuilding is my whole life. I literally dedicate every moment to it. But once school is done, like it's just gonna be I have like, like 5 more hours a day to just like really solidify everything. And I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for it. And another goal that I have for myself, I'm rambling, is
No, you'll go ahead. Yeah.
is my fitness routine. I'm My old gymnastics coach just is now allowing me to practice and kind of train with him
Yeah.
again for like improving my skills and everything. And I am so excited to bring like a next level routine to my pro debut and for future shows after that. So I'm really, really excited because I'm expanding my team, which is I think is so cool.
Hey,
So
yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I cannot wait to see where you're at in a year from now. And before we wrap things up, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to?
yes, oh my gosh, shout out to my coach Shane Hughley first and foremost. I love that man. I swear to God, he is the best, and he supports me in anything that I do, anything that I say. He's right by my side, like, yep, let's do it. Like I told him about my new um or my coach, my old gymnastics coach, saying like, we can train together and practice more crazier skills. He's like, let's do it. Like you we're gonna go all the way. So I'm so blessed to have him by my side. Same thing with Missy. She's such an amazing supporter. Oh my gosh. Like it helps me so much too because there's a lot of things that I didn't know about fitness, obviously like just getting into it. So just little things that I never would have thought of, like, oh, Maddie, like judges don't like the gymnastics look. They want your hands to be more like a cheerleader, like fists like this, or so just little things you don't think of. So I'm really, really grateful for her. And also my family, my mom and my sister and my grandma too. They all really support me and help me with my journey.
That is awesome. And again, everyone, go and give Maddie a follow on her Instagram page down below. I'll leave a link to it. Buyer beware. You will be inspired to get off that couch and stop eating all those Twinkies and, get to a gym. But again, Maddie, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and sharing your journey with us. It was an absolute delight. And I can't wait to talk to you again.
Yes, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it was so great. Thank you for letting me come on and finally and seeing you and talking to you. It's been awesome. Oh my gosh.
No worries at all. I appreciate it. Well, everyone, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you guys.